I caught them screaming while my grandson cheered as their shiny HOA security truck came apart piece by piece in front of the whole neighborhood phones, up deputies watching, and the so-called president realizing too late he'd picked the wrong old man to push. People still tell that story, like it's crazy, like I lost my mind over a fishing spot. And I always think if only you knew what they did before I touched a single bolt. So let me start there, because none of this was about one truck. It was about what happens when fake authority collides with someone who actually knows where the real lines are. My name is Thomas Morgan. I'm a retired Army engineer, years building bridges and clearing obstacles. And for 4 decades, I've lived in a quiet place called Lakewood Ridge, the kind of neighborhood where you know the dogs, the kids, the sound of every truck at 6 a.m. Our heart is Lake Clearwater. My wife and I raised our son on that water. We scattered her ashes there when the doctors ran out of good news. And then I started again with my grandson, Tommy Jr., teaching him how to tie on a lure, how to sit still and feel the line come alive. Every Monday, same routine. Coffee cooler rods that narrow gravel lane down to the lake. That lane is not just an access road, it's a promise. Mine to keep our ritual going as long as my legs work. The morning we turned that bend and saw a lifted black Ford F-150 parked sideways across the lane, with 2 guys in cheap navy polos leaning on it like toll booth bandits. Something in my chest went cold. "Roads closed," the big one said. Sunglasses on. "Private HOA access now. You got your pass." The other pointed to a laminated sign zip-tied to a cone. Lakewood Ridge HOA. Lake access fee, $50. No county seal, no statute. Just bold letters and attitude. I told him this lane had been public since the 50s. He shrugged. "New management. You want to touch that water, you pay. No exceptions." In the passenger seat, Tommy asked, "Grandpa, why do we have to pay for our lake?" The second guy laughed. "Because Grandpa didn't read the rules, kid." You ever feel a switch flip inside you, not loud, just cold and precise? That was it. But I put the truck in reverse. I am not teaching my grandson to solve problems with a fist fight in front of strangers. On the way back, he stared at his rod. Are we not allowed to fish anymore? For the first time in a long time, I did not have an answer. And for a man like me, that hurt more than I let him see. Next morning, 6 sharp, someone pounds on my door. I open it in my robe to find a woman with perfect hair, neat blazer clipboard, the whole HOA starter kit. "Good morning, Mr. Morgan. I'm Rebecca Hale, president of the Lake Clearwater Homeowners Association," she says like it's been carved in stone for years. She hands me an envelope. Inside is a $500 assessment for unauthorized use, non-compliance, threats about liens and collections. I ask, "When did we vote for an HOA?" She smiles thin. "We filed with the county. It's done. People like you can cooperate with progress or make it expensive. Talk to a lawyer." Then she turns and walks off my porch like she owns the sunrise. I've worn real uniforms, carried real authority. I know theater when I see it. So I called the sheriff, laid it out barricaded public easement cash demands fake-looking signs. The dispatcher sounded tired before I finished. "Sir, if it's an HOA dispute that's civil, you'll need to take it up with their board or a lawyer." I said, "Ma'am, it's not civil if they're selling access to public land. But policy is a brick wall when nobody wants to look closer." So I drove to the county building, spent a day under buzzing lights with burnt coffee, pulling every record on that lake. And there it was. 1952 resolution dedicating permanent public access deed restrictions that said no private entity could lock it down. No valid HOA covenants for our streets, just a cheap business registration. Hale's people had dressed up and weaponized. While I'm reading proof they're full of it out by the lake, they're doubling down. New sign folding table orange cones, HOA security shirts, cameras pointed at our homes. I watched Mrs. Carter, 72, turned away with her grandsons. Watched a guard tell her, 30 years don't matter, lady, new rules. Watched a young dad get threatened with trespassing for arguing. People either paid or went home. Fear and confusion did the rest. Hale kept stuffing my mailbox, late fees, final notice, language meant to scare someone softer. Her guards started lingering out front, one of them calling, "Nice house, Mr. Morgan, hope it's up to code," and the others laughing. You know what I mean. Death by 100 little flexes. What they did not realize is that retired engineer is just another way of saying, I have time to read the fine print. I laid the documents out in my workshop, highlighted statutes, annotated maps, printed photos of their truck blocking the easement. Sent it all to an old JAG buddy. His reply: "Tom, this isn't a real HOA. It's a structured fraud ring. They've hit other communities. Keep your evidence tight." That was the twist. It wasn't about one lake. It was a playbook. Fake board, fake security, real money, targeted at older folks who don't want trouble. They thought they were running the same scam again on a bunch of tired retirees. This time, they stepped into my lane. I could have gone quiet, waited, hoped some agency fixed it. Instead, I chose something louder and cleaner. One morning I went down there alone, no Rod's shoulders. A little slumped for the cameras. Told the guards I was thinking about selling, tired of the fight, might be ready to work with the HOA. They ate it up. By that night, half the neighborhood had heard that Thomas Morgan, the stubborn old engineer, had finally caved. That was exactly what I needed. Bullies feeling safe. Back in my workshop, I tuned my hydraulic rig, checked every jack and stand, laid my paperwork in order. I wasn't planning vandalism. I was planning a very public, very documented removal of an illegal obstruction that just happened to be their favorite toy. Saturday morning comes bright and clear. Hale shows up in a crisp blazer, fake board members in tow, guards at the truck reporter from Channel 7, ready to record her speech about protecting our lake. Neighbors line the sidewalks. They think they're about to watch my surrender. Instead, I pull up with my trailer step out calm. Hale snaps, "Mr. Morgan." "What is this?" I drop my folder on the tailgate, open it so the reporter and neighbors can see. "This road is a recorded public easement. Your group has no filed authority to block it. This truck is an illegal obstruction, and I'm going to remove it." She laughs, but it comes out thin. "You touch that vehicle, and I will own your house." A sheriff's deputy rolls up right on cue. I hand him the documents. He reads, really reads, then asks Hale for her filings. Stamped covenants, incorporation, anything real. She waves her clipboard about pending paperwork. He shakes his head. "Pending isn't authority, ma'am. Right now this looks bad." And he steps back. That was my green light. I slide the jack under the Ford pump until the front wheels lift. "Step back," I say, voice steady. "I'm a trained engineer. This will be safe." Impact wrench on lug nuts off wheels, lined up on the gravel like evidence. I move to the rear, do the same. I'm not raging, I'm not wild. I'm deliberate. Every turn of the wrench says if you use a truck to hold our community hostage, then the truck goes. One guard mutters, "He's stripping our post," and he's right. Hale is on her phone, hissing about lawsuits. I look up and say loud enough for the cameras, "I'm removing an illegal blockade from public property. If you have real authority, show it now." She can't. The deputy doesn't interrupt. The reporter keeps filming. And then it's done. The truck is disabled, no longer blocking anything, the lane wide open to the water for the first time in weeks. There is this beat of silence. Then Tommy's voice from down the street. "Grandpa, it's open." Kids break into a run. Parents follow slower, like they're not sure it's allowed until their feet hit that dirt. Hale sputters something about criminal mischief as more cruisers roll in, and a week later, it's not me they are serving papers to. Turns out my JAG buddy was right. Their association ties back to a man who's been running the same scam in multiple states, dressing extortion up as community management. Our footage, my records that dismantled truck, sitting there like a diagram of consequences. All of it becomes part of the case that finally shuts them down. People love to make the headline about the truck, like I'm the crazy grandpa who tore apart a pickup because he missed his bass fishing. Maybe it's easier to joke than to admit how fast regular people get steamrolled when someone shows up with a clipboard and a fake title. The truth is simpler. I'm a man who spent his life respecting real rules, and I was not about to teach my grandson to bow to fake ones. You might think I went too far. Some days late at night I replay it and wonder if there was a quieter way. Wait longer. File. More hope. Harder. And maybe if I had, they'd still be out there, charging my neighbors $50 to touch the shore their taxes already paid for. So let me ask you straight, when somebody shows up out of nowhere and starts selling you back your own rights with a fake badge and a plastic smile, where's the line for you? Was I wrong for taking their symbol of control apart in front of everyone? Or was that the only language those people were ever going to understand? Tell me in the comments if you think I crossed it. If you would have done it differently, or if you've seen this kind of authority get abused where you live. Because if my story does anything, I hope it makes the next person think twice before handing over their lake, their street, or their dignity, just because somebody printed the word HOA on a sign.